Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Tangent. We finally made it out of the snow. We've had to say this twice because we run two different shows. But last week, if you don't already know, we had a huge storm in Seattle, and it basically threw us off, and we couldn't even stream. We couldn't do anything because I don't have internet really strong enough to handle it, so it was a little bit weird.
Oh, we could barely get out of our house. My internet was up and down. The power was up and down. I mean, we got... How much snow did you get?
I ended up getting about 4 feet of snow at the house because we live up in the mountains and we're close to the base of Mount Baker, which is one of the larger. You're close to Snoqualmie, so I mean it's a little bit similar, but you're more in the city area and
down a little bit lower.
A little bit lower, so yeah. I mean we have different weather patterns, and it's really microclimates kind of thing around here because if you live closer to the mountains, you get a little bit different. If you live closer to Seattle, you get a lot different. If you live in the ocean, like you're saying, you have the rainforest essentially. Right. So it's pretty weird, and we're really close to each other. But we did get out, and we got out of that stuff, and we got a lot of games. We're playing a game today. We'll be talking about it later called Away. This was one we were going to play last week because it launched on WildTangent as well as on Steam and everywhere else at the same time. And we were going to do it as a full-fledged, like, it's all over the website, it's all over email, it's all over everybody, and we were going to play it on both streams. The Games Gone Wild that we do on Facebook, and then the Weekly Tangent on Thursdays that we do on YouTube and Twitch. But it didn't work out that way, so we're playing it this week. It's actually a really cool, interesting first-person roguelite, so a lot of people like it.
Interesting enough that we decided that we wanted to play it this week, even though we missed it last week.
Yeah,
full takeover. Yeah. So
it's got some anime flavor to it. It's got like stylized. It's got some, not necessarily Shovel Knight to it, but it's got some of that, and it's basically you kind of get forward and you get killed, and then you go back and you go forward and you get killed, and you're banging your head against a wall. Not as bad as like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and all the Demon Souls, but it's got some challenge to it.
It's certainly rogue light.
Yeah,
with a T.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of how
that's how I feel about it too. And then we got other games, but man, big things going on today. We got Anthem that launches tonight, basically for everybody.
Well, yeah, if you're not already there on PC,
if you don't have your pitchforks and your your torches, then you might enjoy the game. But man, it has really set the gaming world on its ear in terms of like Bioware. What used to be, and nothing against Bioware, but what used to be like they actually had a good name in the industry has become like, I'm ready to trot all over it and just hate.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Talk about the mighty fallen a little bit. I remember when they partnered up and brought Mass Effect to the 360.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like... That was talk of the talk, right?
For sure. There's a lot of people that like just follow whatever BioWare does.
Right.
And like they can do no wrong. And obviously they've had big wins like Mass Effect 2... Mass Effect 3, depending upon when you played it, right? If you waited until they fixed some of it.
If you slice the ending shenanigans out of the equation, it's still
cut some of the worst stuff out and add some stuff in. But Jade Empire, which was fantastic, Dragon Age 1.
Dragon Age 1.
And the subsequent, what was the other thing? It was Dragon Age 1 and then the expansion.
They did the expansion, and then they went to 2 and turned it into like that action...
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then Dragon Age Inquisition was even a little bit step away from that, but more closer to the original one. And yeah, they've had some ups and downs. Well, they've done Anthem.
Yeah, well then they did that Mass Effect Andromeda, which kind of came out and had some not amazing reception to it. And then after all these years, they've been kind of quiet, and everybody had been wondering what BioWare was working on. We hadn't seen anything from them in a while. And then, here, was it a year ago? Or was it 2 years ago?
Probably about 2 years ago is, I think, when it really...
When EA came out and said, BioWare is doing our service game.
Yep.
So I guess when I think of this is... trying to not compare it too much, but each publisher kind of has a big service game in their wheelhouse right now.
Yes.
I guess sans Bungie going private here the other day and kind of Activision and Bungie kind of splitting, but, it's
as
not...
a publishing deal, yeah.
So this is, kind of EA's big, let's compete with kind of some divisions and Destinies, kind of these get you coming back every day, get you coming back every week,
sure,
lots of loot type of thing. But yeah, it actually launched here the Friday before last for PC and Xbox users.
Yeah, I remember you saying that if you look at it, what was it? The funniest thing is that PlayStation digital purchases are the last people to be able to play it.
Because even the Anthem physical copies,
that
made
they
it
can
on the
get
wild,
online.
We're able to get on when the patch hit yesterday, I think. So
yeah, it is a weird instance. And then, I mean, not necessarily to jump on the hate train for Anthem, but I mean, obviously they're up against a wall right out of the gate. People are laying into them about all sorts of things, whether it's the weird load times, whether it's the what was the other factor? There was some people were upset about like the way it was dealing with the gear sets and
there's controversies over the in-game because it's got like a real money store, like an internet store.
Right. The economy kind
but
of
you
store.
can earn every cosmetic item legitimately with enough time, and when I say enough time, I mean a lot.
Yeah, I mean it could be like 15,000 hours or whatever.
Hundreds upon hundreds of hours for a piece. Right.
They know how that went over so well with Star Wars.
Right, yeah. So, ultimately, I'm still going to give it a shot. I still think it's going to be fun with friends. We've played launch of like almost all these service games, and ultimately, I'm sure we're going to hit a wall. I'm sure there's going to be problems, but as long as we're all having fun, that's kind of where I think where I draw the line between everybody on YouTube being frustrated about it and me just concerning myself with me and my friends playing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you're having fun, and that's how I put some footage up on my site, on my channel, and I kind of said the same thing. It's like, make your own decision, because I think that the bandwagon has sailed and people are already, beating the drum of hate.
Right.
And the game wasn't that bad. When I played it, I had fun on the beta. I was looking at it as there's a couple things I don't like, but there's always things that I don't like, and there's always things that you do like. So I think that there was nothing that made it any worse than Destiny, which I really like Destiny to play. Maybe not as much as you like Destiny, and it played, but I still enjoyed it, had a great time. So
and interestingly enough,
take it for what it is.
The comparison I most make to the game is there's a lot of Diablo 3 in here.
Yeah.
So even though coat of paint wise, I think that's probably why it gets compared to Destiny. It's a lot of greens, a lot of blues, a lot of purples, very vibrant.
Yeah.
The way you're showered with gear, the way your loadouts work is much more in line with kind of a cover shooter meets a wild looter like Diablo, where you're getting showered with hundreds of pieces of gear. This isn't like in Destiny, you can hold 50 pieces of gear on you at any one time, and this game you're holding hundreds of pieces.
And then you're having to go to your mailbox and get that, and
your vault's like 1,000 something
or something.
Yeah.
Do they have a similar mechanic to Destiny where, like, if you can't collect the gear, or is it like every piece of gear you can collect no matter what? You don't have a limitation from that level to carry gear back, and then you got to sort through it and do your...
Well, one thing interesting about this game is, so all the loot is private, but you can't, when you're in the open world, you can't change your set as you're playing. So, like, if you're running a boss...
Can't grab a new gun.
And a rocket launcher drops, or a grenade launcher drops, you have to go back to the tower to even collect all your gear. So your gear is locked as soon as you leave with your javelin. Your javelin is, like, locked, ready, and you're in the sky, and there's no plug and play during missions.
Right. You can't change the loadout or add the new gun into your gameplay.
And it's all really
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, like, if you found a gun on the street, you'd be able to pick it up and start using it right away. I could see, like, I'm not going to change my knee pads.
Yeah.
But,
I've seen the explanation, which is that they want... Because the whole when you look at and you see the shooting mechanics, it looks like a shooter, but there's really a strategic combo system. That's how once you get past the like we're just shooting something with bigger numbers, and it all goes into them wanting to keep this strategy of like we need to make our strategic decisions before we leave, and when we're out in the wild, then we're doing this, and we want you to have to live with your chosen strategy. So,
I think if there's anything to change, that might be the first thing to change. I can see that being blowback because Division, you can grab what you need. Destiny, you can grab what you need. If you're like picking this stuff up, you can start adding it in. I could see that being the Achilles heel, but also the actual thing that really differentiates the game.
Yeah, and there's in Division and Destiny, there's locked loadout modes, but they're also
exactly modes, they're very specific,
right?
Modes.
It's not like we're going to go free roam and we're locked loadout. I think the thing that I dislike the most, because I can even live with that, is the amount of load screens in the game. It seems
I made that a point to complain about as well.
That's the one thing that I look at, and I just wonder if there was I don't engineer for Bioware. I'm not qualified to discuss it, but it seems odd to me that for in the spirit of openness that like we've played some combination of we've played some Division recently, we've played some Fallout 76 recently, and if you load into a building, I don't have a problem with a load screen, but like when we're running down the tunnel and it's like type of thing, it's like I struggled with that a little bit. So
I get that. Enough beating on Anthem for what we think it'll be. Wait until we play it.
Yeah.
One game that we both have played.
Yep.
Metro came out. That's Exodus. Which Metro Exodus goes right along with like the snowstorm that we happen to have. As well as like I spent a whole Sunday playing Frostpunk because I just love that game and I continue to play it. But we did play Exodus, and not giving away spoilers. The game is interesting. It does some different things that I didn't expect.
Yep, I would agree with that.
It does play similar to the way the other Metro and Metro Last Light have been. I'm kind of indifferent on the game. Whether it's an advancement or whether they just did some things to say, okay, now we're very similar to other games that have like an open world. Yeah. Although it's not an open world. I don't know. There's different levels of it.
We're trying to tread lightly here because you kind of get to a point in the game where some things are a little different than in the past. This was the first game I played end-to-end in HDR. So this game kind of got an artificial bump just because it looks incredible to play like that.
It does. I mean, it's done all the right things in terms of graphic and upgrades and everything that they've had since they did the redo or the Redux versions of Last Light and Metro 2023 or 2033. 2033. Yeah.
So ultimately, I would say I enjoy the game. It looks good. I would definitely say I probably like the early portions of the game more than the later portions.
Yep.
That's probably how I would leave that.
Yeah, I would say that the very beginning of it is very Metro franchise-esque, and then it changes a little bit more than I was expecting.
Yep, me too.
Yeah. So those were two interesting games. Like I said, I played a hell of a lot of Frostpunk. I had been trying to get through that first scenario completely without like fail, and it's a tough game, man.
That's what you were saying.
It's brutal. They make it specifically brutal. Let's jump into. So we've got a couple games we were going to talk about. One I've actually played a lot of, which is Gauntlet.
Okay.
So this is the new Gauntlet. Not yesterday Gauntlet. Like, this is new Gauntlet in terms of like it came out from Warner Brothers, I want to say 4 years ago.
Okay.
Something 4 to 5 years ago. And it's a remaster or reimagining of like Gauntlet that's not arcade machine Gauntlet or Gauntlet on the NES or Legends. Similar game though. It's 4-player co-op. It's done well. It is I've played through it in one sitting on a stream with 3 other people. So it really depends, but there's reasons to go back in and play, obviously, for gear and stuff like that. So it's got a different take on it, but it's definitely like the newer way that you would play Gauntlet. It's not like these, you know, you open the door. You still open the door to let the enemies come at you in like a rush mode, like a horde mode, and you can kind of control that. But it's done with a little bit different concept. So I'm going to see if we can turn up the volume a little bit on it. And yeah, let's take a look at it. Some of the gameplay.
So this was the game that, correct me if I'm wrong, Warner Brothers commissioned the developers of Magicka to make this.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So the guys at Magicka that now Paradox, I think, deploys or distributes.
Something like that, yeah.
That dev group, yeah, they went and they worked on this.
How close would you compare this to, so it's still kind of a co-op dungeon crawler. How close do you compare this to like a recent, like
Diablo?
You know, Diablo or Path of Exile or something like that?
Yeah, no, it's not even in the same. This, where Diablo is like gear and what else would there be? Gear and looting and all that. This is more a 4-player couch co-op. You can play online co-op, but 4-player co-op in short spurts, and there's definitely not the same level of stuff to do.
You get like a weapon and a couple abilities. We're not swimming in a full suit with
You're not going after
and ancients and
stuff like that. No, it's more casual than that.
Got it.
Let's see how you fare against the power of the day.
So as you can see, we're rolling into the first. And it's got a slight story to it of what's going on, but you're gathering gold. And, you know, that's going to help you get extra, you know, potions, things like that. You're also gathering, but it's really about the traditional way of playing Gauntlet.
I'm always a fan to play co-op or 3 or 4 players.
Yes,
so.
Like we did Overcooked,
right,
a couple weeks ago on the Facebook stream on the Games Gone Wild. And had a great time with it. This would be a similar game. We were wanting to play this as co-op, but I kind of figured, you know what? Let's play away. I think we both agreed on that. And
most certainly.
You know, this game, the Gauntlet game, comes in. It's a lower price point. I believe it's $14.99 and in some change. $14.99, and then if you're a member, we do a discount down to like $12.99 or maybe even $10.99. Yeah, something like that for it. So, you know, and most people that have played Gauntlet, you're going to get a very similar experience. It's like I said, it's been updated, but the gameplay is pretty similar in that. You got to get keys. You got to unlock. Like you'll see this. It's a whole wall of locks, but once you unlock one, they fall in like dominoes. So the whole thing opens up. You have the rush of the horde coming at you, or the zombies, you know, in that sense, and you've got to take it on. Now you do have specials that you can upgrade and change out, so you do have different attack modes as well.
Okay.
And you'll see those being used a little bit. Like that was just, you know, the entry stuff, so you didn't see really a huge amount of like special moves and takedowns. So, but you know, for what it is, it's a nice. It was a new way to play Gauntlet that was aging, and I think they had to kind of do some upgrades to it. You know, bring it more current.
The last one that I could say I played a significant amount of would have been Legends, which we played on N64.
Yep, I remember Legends. That was fun.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this has obviously got the you know, welcome to today, and we don't all have to meet up at a house to play. We can just jump online.
It is not. You could play without having couch co-op. Now here's one of the zombies I used, or the bosses, mid-level boss. He was taking some smacks, and I wasn't paying attention. There is a revive, so you can build those up, and you can revive yourself without having to to use a life, kind of thing. I should have been grabbing food, but I wasn't paying 100% attention on it.
You know, one thing I do like about these is I still miss at a certain level that being in the same room and always playing I would never trade what we have now, which is we're all connect online.
Sure.
There is an element to when we're playing Gauntlet in the same room, we're playing Overcooked in the same room, we're playing Smash in the same room, where you can start, talking some trash.
Oh yeah, it still comes into play.
You can start making accusations about who or who would not be allowed to run the restaurant.
Right.
Right. And that is one thing that I genuinely do miss, especially having played so much, local multiplayer, growing up and through the years before, PSN and Xbox Live and Steam and whatnot were all these, things. So I do have to say that it is certainly something that I miss.
Yeah. And I think Gauntlet does a good enough job to be able to bring that same feeling. If you've got 4 controllers and, you've got the ability to pull it all together, which that's always a factor. Mostly on PC, you don't have that. You have it on the console. You're more likely to have a scenario of being able to play on a big screen. But I know a lot of people, like me, go in, put the effort in to put a nice rig in with your big screen. You've got the same thing on your new TV. So let's kind of jump off of Gauntlet. Another Warner Brothers game that we had picked up recently. We've already showed off Batman Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, which was the first in the Arkham series.
We did that a couple weeks ago.
Yep. We've actually got Batman Arkham City as well. This is the Game of the Year edition. Following in the footsteps, Batman, Bruce Wayne has really kind of changed the way that he deals with stuff. He's definitely got the tools and everything that you would expect Batman to have. But now, the city, there's a portion inside the city that's now the prison.
Yes.
That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Why you would do that, no idea. But it definitely is a huge difference, and the story starts off there, and you've got the Penguin, you've got Catwoman, she's the first one to kind of come in, and she's now dealing with it. You've got Two-Face, you've got...
Sorry to disappoint you, boys.
I'm trying to even think obviously, other characters that we've seen in the past one.
Yeah, I know that, so we've got, Mark Hamill as Joker.
Yeah, he's still the voice. Yep.
They've got, Robin makes an appearance a little bit later. He's voiced by Troy Baker.
Yep.
Who's... What game is he not voice acting?
I know, yeah. He's getting good work.
But... Yeah, I'm
the stylized fighting is still there. I mean, the same mechanics, which I always appreciate. I think that should be used in every brawler. Is this kind of fight mechanic?
Yeah, one thing that is kind of nice about this is since they kind of took it a little more open world, one of the big emphasis was the cape gliding.
Yes,
which was there in the first,
your way to get around.
Which was there in the first game to a certain extent, but you were really kind of in rooms. Doing it, this is now you're really traversing more of a city. I think, I gotta say, this thing is at least 3 or 4 times the size of the last game as far as coverable to territory.
Yeah, I forget the actual number that they put on it, but essentially it doesn't expand it as much as Origins does, but I'm pretty sure it quadrupled the map.
Okay.
And then Origins expands on that even further, and I'm not even clear on how far they went with Arkham Knight.
And another thing I liked about this was, as you were playing the game, since it's not a departure from the first game, it does bring a lot of the gadgets you're familiar with, but it also, almost all your gadgets were either new or updated or changed.
Yeah.
So even though you might be like, oh, is this just more of Arkham Asylum, but an open world? And I would tell you, no, there's multiple brand new elements to this game that keep it both familiar, but also kind of change the way you play, the way you attack situations. You can still play the kind of... It's still got this stealth, still has the detective, but if you want to go, full-on action, then, you
can definitely find it.
You're absolutely more than welcome to play like that.
Yeah, I'm throwing the link into chat, so if you're interested in the game, you can take a look at it. It is another game where if you're a Wild member on WildTangent, you get a discount of at least 20% or 10% on this, I think. Is this one.
And then I think even in the Game of the Year edition, and this might be true of the Standard Edition after an update, I do know the Game of the Year edition ships with a New Game Plus mode in it as well. And that very well could be in the base game, and I'm not familiar with it, but I know certainly that this game has one where you can kind of play through it, and then you keep your gadgets and your abilities, and then you can play it in an increased difficulty.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, is they added in a even higher difficulty.
Okay.
New Game Plus was there. So essentially, you know, what happens in the beginning, and we're watching that right now, Bruce Wayne actually is considered a terrorist. And because he's speaking out against the Arkham City prison being in the city.
Right.
So then he gets pulled into it. He's actually thrown in the clink, and
with the rest of the prisoners.
Okay. Although they don't know he's Batman. Outside of a few that have figured it out, I guess, that don't share the information on Facebook with all the other prisoners. I don't know why that is, but yeah, like Doctor Strange or Hugo Strange, he actually is aware of the connection and everything like that. So.
And then, so you play as, I know that we showed it off here initially where you're as Catwoman. You play as more than just Batman in this game now, too.
Exactly. Yeah, you do have other areas that you're playing, or other characters that you take control of. I believe in this one, Robin. I'm not sure which version of Robin, but yeah, I believe that you play as Robin as well. I played the game, probably the last time I played this was 5 or 6 years ago, 5 years ago maybe. And played all the way through it.
I had played them a couple years ago because I jumped on. They released them when they bundled them together for the first time. That was how I ended up with both of these. I was a little bit later to the Batman Arkham games.
Yeah, they're fantastic. Though. I mean, to play through it, it's really fun. Good, great game. Yeah,
Bruce.
And the graphics, you know, have held up so well. The games look phenomenal. I mean, this footage was actually recorded at 4K.
That's what you were saying before we started talking on this tonight.
So I went in and actually did a couple of these. There's a couple other games we're going to talk about, one being Observer. I recorded that at 4K as well. Obviously on this stream, you're getting it at, I think we're broadcasting at 720p, 60 frames per second. It's higher quality, but it's still limited to what we're streaming at here now. But if you're interested, you'll be able to find the 4K version that'll be connected to WildTangent page through my channel where we put the gameplay videos. So you'll be able to actually check it out if you go to that link, and you'll be able to see the gameplay footage we have up here, and it'll be in 4K.
It's nice when developers go back after the fact and you get, whether it's a 4K update or an HDR update,
exactly,
or a New Game Plus update, and it's not just like if you don't buy Game of the Year, you don't get it type of thing.
Right.
So
they actually, PC development's awesome about that.
Yeah.
I know PlayStation, they've made some changes and they've added in like the ability for the Pro to be able to take the patch or whatever that gives you the 4K assets, but for PC it's just really inherently there from the get-go.
Yeah. And just kind of my last comment on this is, I gotta say that
stay close to me.
Rocksteady has done themselves one of the best services by coming out with these games, because I remember when someone was like, this company Rocksteady is going to take on Batman. Everybody's like, here we go.
Well, yeah, everybody remembers like the crappy Batman movie Batman.
And now Rocksteady's become a premier developer where people are absolutely anticipating their next game.
Oh yeah, and the engines that they've built
to
be able to do this, and the mechanic that is the stylized fighting, I mean, it's extremely fun. It can be done so well, and so many games are utilizing it.
Yeah,
so, especially Warner's games.
Yeah,
you know, Mad Max has had it, Batman's had it, Middle Earth has had it.
Right.
You know, they're just there, and they know it works the best.
Ooh.
Let's jump to there's a thing, Cobblepot. Let's jump over to another game. Once I get it up here, we're going to talk about a game from a partner of ours, Plug-in Digital, who brings us tons of games. They actually are the ones that have brought us Away. It was their first, I think, fully developed and published game.
I believe so.
Yeah. The other game they did publish here is called Who Must Die. It's an interesting game. I don't really know where it falls in. We were talking about it briefly. What I would tell you is it's kind of a walking simulator, which is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. You know, that's really a way to tell a story, is walking simulator. It's kind of a walking simulator with full motion video interaction. So it's like take Night Trap, but kind of the free movement and being able to look around and like go check out something over here or go investigate like Canarium, go investigate this. But when you're interacting with the game, it's very much like Night Trap.
Do you get any escape room vibes when you're playing this?
No, it's not that. I mean, you can be wrong and lose in this game. And essentially how it sets it up is you are a doctor that's called in. You are there to check out patients that have been brought in for a contaminant that's extremely horrible. And they're trying to eradicate it. So they take that step. It's a very mature title. They take that step of like, you need to tell them who the people are that are contaminated, and those people are killed.
Okay.
Like straight out, like they are eradicated.
Right.
Right? And if you pick the wrong person, that's where the game ends, and you get hints of how they're not sick or they're not contaminated, and you have to do different various tasks with them to be able to determine what these hints are. Like expose them to loud noises while they're in these like padded cells, or expose them to these nerve gas.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really it's a very dark game.
Okay.
In the sense of as you start to play it, you are basically killing somebody off in the game. You are the deciding factor.
The adding of the full motion video is interesting. I've never seen it just nailed at an execution level. I've seen it been tried. I think it's become a little less popular these days with now that we've got full motion capture. Right. So it was kind of a period of time, but it's still kind of interesting stylistically. What was we looked at another game recently here that had it. It was like Quiet Man or something like that.
Yeah. I'm going to drop the link into chat for this game, so you can go check it out. It's got it's actually a very decent price. I think it's $6.99 is the price point, and then you get a little discount if you're a WoW member. But in the general sense, it's a low entry level price to a game that's got some really dark mechanics.
It's certainly different. It's not what I feel like you commonly walk into the store and see advertised, whether it's, you know, a Fortnite thing or Red Dead or, you know, Fallout. It's definitely a unique game in its own right.
So here's the console, and this is where you can expose the contaminant, who you're you can expose your not inmates, they're not inmates, your patients to this to find out who has the contaminant. And you kind of, it's not just go up to the console and start pressing buttons. You have to kind of go look around, read some of the notes, see what the tells are, so much to say of like who is actually contaminated. So you kind of see like their pictures there, and that's where you decide. You've got a call box.
It's a fascinating concept.
Yeah, it's definitely like you're the CDC, but also like you're
the executioner?
The executioner in the CDC. And it tells you a little bit about like the epidemic that's going on, and you know how it's affecting people. And then you've got to look around for some clues. Like the first one here, it's basically like, if I remember correctly, it's like people get very agitated that are contaminated. Like they kind of go up and they're agitated over whatever, and it's kind of hard to tell who's agitated and who's protecting themselves, and like, you know, just we'll watch it just for a few minutes here. So here, it's like, it seems that contaminated patients have excess rage.
Okay.
Right? So that's one of the clues. You can look around a little bit further, might find something else. There's a recipe for stuff here. I figured that had nothing to do with it. So I moved on. But you start going over to your console and you start pressing the buttons, and you kind of, obviously, you're trying to agitate somebody to see if they have excess rage.
Huh.
And I think really the first one is a giveaway.
Okay.
Of like, who's got this? And there's a dude over there in like a straitjacket, and you're like, maybe him. Right?
Maybe. I don't know what the tell was. Maybe.
Right. And they give you a little bit of information on this character. So he's patient 2, I think it is, or camera 2. And it talks about like what he did for a job. And then you can actually like click into it, and there's some other information. It's got a neat it's got a neat idea. I think when you're talking about like full motion games, there's a couple different ways to do them. There's a story way that you're interacting with it, and it's like a puzzle, and you're moving from like an adventure game from area to area to area. That was kind of the Bunker game.
Okay.
It's a French developed game as well. I believe the company that developed this for Plug and Digital was French, or the developers are.
Yeah, White Chamber. It's like 5 French students or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Something to that effect. So you can see here, you've got 3 cameras, you've got the guys, and then your guy up on the top is your orderly enforcer.
Okay.
And he's just kind of taking a nap. So you're really trying to like see what the results are of everything that you do in the 3 monitors at the bottom. And like you can play hard music, you can play calm music, and kind of if you zoom in while you're playing the hard music, not zoom in, but if you kind of focus on the center monitor, you'll hear the sound that they're hearing. If you kind of focus to the other monitor, you hear the sound they're hearing, and so forth. So that guy was liking the music. So I was like, well, he's not really raging, but he's the dude in the straitjacket.
All right.
So I was looking to see like who else was having the problem here. And like number 1 seemed to be agitated a little bit. So then you can try, like, I think I tried next the calm music. The other thing about this game, it has a very, like, micro indicator of, like, what you're looking at. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Your, like, pointer
is just it's a pixel.
Okay.
And it's hard to see at some points. Now, this guy's dancing away, like, with himself. So I kind of figured, okay, he's not agitated. And that guy wasn't really agitated about it. He was just chilling. So I'm starting to build like who I think, but I guess like he stood up, so maybe he is agitated by it. I don't know. But then you got to kind of go through and try the other ones. So obviously you check the gas, you check what the orderly will do, because you can send him into specific rooms.
It's kind of a fun concept.
It's different.
Yeah,
it's different. I was interested in it. We don't want to give away too much of it, so I'm going to probably say let's jump over and check out our next game. But yeah, see, number 1 was going off. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Although the guy in the straitjacket is not really taking it easier either. So yeah, different concept. I think you see that with a lot of the indie studios. They're trying for different things, like let's combine this with a little bit of that.
Right, right.
Know, it's always the way it is, and sometimes good results. Sometimes it's a very interesting game that has different, different way of doing something that may have been older. Like I said, it felt like Night Trap to me.
That's kind of one of the fun things about when these smaller shops, they can go out and they can take a risk because it didn't take them 11 years, and so it's like
could have been like 10 months and a year of development or whatever.
And I wrap it back around to something where there's these criticisms of, say, Anthem, where there's X, Y, and Z problems, where it's like where these indie developers have really they really shoot for some unique concepts, and they don't try to be like, we're going to make a Me Too shooter because why?
Yeah,
right. And it's way more interesting themes, interesting settings, and then this is really the concept of this. It's kind of like you're still in first person, but it's like it's not a shooter, and so there's no stats, but you're still so it's
manipulating it.
Yeah.
Let's jump in and check out another indie game that I thought was quite interesting. This comes from Curve Digital. This is Serial Killer. Serial Killer. It reminds me a lot of like Hotline Miami. Kind of take Hotline Miami and then take the concept of like Metal Gear.
To me, it reminds me of if you threw stealth into Hotline.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So essentially, you're a cleaner. This is the 70s. And the cleaners are the people that actually go in and clear up a crime scene.
Yep.
Now, the cops are already here, so it's a little bit different than, like, you would have been there ahead of time. But you're trying to get, like, a piece of evidence, which in this scenario, I think it was a watch, a gold watch.
Right.
And then you've got to go get the body. And then you got to get the body and get it in your car, and you've got to watch out for the cone of vision and be able to sneak your way through. And it's got an interesting mechanic of almost like Hotline Miami. Makes it fun. Now, Hotline Miami, that was super violent.
Right.
You're shooting everybody. You're trying to figure out the best way to kill someone or to kill a group of people as you're rushing the door.
The most efficient path through.
Most efficient path. This one, you're just basically trying to stealth your way through without getting caught and get rid of the evidence. But you do have the factor of, like, people were chasing you. I was caught a couple of times trying to figure out the mechanics as I was going. And then they start to add new things on. So if you saw earlier on, our guy has a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
Like that was showing up, and that you press up or like a
I did see you pull that out, yeah.
So he's got the vacuum cleaner. I'm going to try to like ring around the rosy on this guy here. There we go. Oh, he got me. But you have the vacuum cleaner to clean up blood spills.
Okay.
So that's what one of the tools is that you're going to be messing with like later on as you play through. And there's a branching somewhat story, and it's very much like Hotline Miami where you get a phone call. Now it's not the psychedelic like craziness, sociopath or psychopath.
So you play as a criminal in this game. You're not working with the police.
You're not working with the police.
You're working against the police.
You're essentially trying to get the stuff away from the police.
Got it.
Yes, the evidence. But it's not like this story where somebody's calling you and they're like, okay, go kill this target. And that's where in Hotline Miami you have to go through and do that. In this one, it's more like, I've killed somebody. I need the cleaner to come in and do the work to get me off the hook.
Right.
And then you kind of do it. But there is a branching story. The guy lives with his mom, and she's involved in like the storyline.
Okay.
And you'll see her kind of pop up. And what's interesting is the more trophies, and I call the things like the watch was a trophy that you get that goes on your shelf in your bedroom. So you start to see all these different things.
Is that like trophy as in like we took a like trophy from the crime scene?
Yes, or evidence you took, and you kind of use the evidence as a trophy. Okay. Yeah. Different. It's different. I when I played it, I kind of thought, okay, definitely got the feel of like Hotline Miami, the similar vibe. And it can get difficult. There's no doubt about it. So you gotta like learn to plan your attack and your path, but stealth is always the important factor.
That's what I like about these styles of games where you play levels very frequently, and it's almost like to a certain extent you're kind of encouraged to trial and error to understand
of course.
How the police will react, how the cameras will react. You got to learn kind of where you can really push your luck on, be it the sound or, you know, like the coned vision.
Yep. And just for everybody, I dropped the links into the chat, so if you want to check out the game, you can go click on that. Yeah, it's got a different feel to it, and like here, you're trying to clean up the champ. The boxing champ has killed like 3 guys.
Oh, okay.
And you're trying to grab 3 bodies, and you've got to grab the champ's belt, and get away. Now you can get away. Obviously, you're going to have a little bit of trouble, but they will eventually like calm down and like, oh, somebody was just here, but yep, they're gone.
Do you ever get weapons to fight against the police?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. You might have things that are not weapons,
okay,
but like diversionary items and things like that. But
because it's not like because Hotline Miami, you could roll in with like double Uzis and just take down.
Oh
the
yeah,
cops
and you're
if
picking
necessary.
up like the baseball bats that they
Right,
drop,
okay.
and then you're taking the baseball bat, hitting the guy in the head,
little
grabbing
more
his gun.
little more kind of stealth strategy. in
Always
this one.
far more stealth.
All right,
it's far more stealth. Yeah, in Hotline Miami, you're just trying to find the right angle to kill everybody.
right.
Right. In this one, it's definitely better not to get caught, or that's the way to win is not to get caught. So, and you can see there's like a little bit of story now. He's got the belt up on his like trophy wall
Next to the watch, right?
next to the watch, and then he moves on, and there's a story going on because the mom's talking about something down there, like come here and check out this news art or this, the news is on. It's talking about like the champ is fighting tonight, and you get a little bit of the story from that point. Let's jump into.
We're going to show one more game tonight.
We're going to show one more
Start
game,
playing?
then we're going to play a little bit of Away. The next game is a cyberpunk
Yeah.
style game. Observer. It's not Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever. It's definitely a different style, although first person, done more like a walking simulator. I would equate it to a walking simulator. That's exactly right.
And funny enough, when you say it's cyberpunk, even true to that, the main character is voiced by Rutger Hauer, who's the
Yes.
antagonist in Blade Runner, a cyberpunk movie, right?
Who I don't care for as an actor.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
I'm not going to critique somebody that has made his name for himself. But yeah, you hear his voice in this. It doesn't fit well. I don't know. It just threw me off. Maybe it's made to be that way.
Okay.
A little robotic, although he's kind of human, because everybody's got just, true to the cyberpunk theme, everybody's got like implants and, additional things like new robotic arms.
It's in a world where biohacking and VR
sure.
and that type of stuff, that's all realities in this world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So essentially, you kind of get the call, you're just chilling out, you're a cop working for the
Must have dozed off.
FPD or
No rest for the wicked.
I forget what the name of the branch is, but you've got your cybernetic arm or hand and implants. You've got the medication that you have to keep taking to survive because of this stuff. Everybody you meet will have kind of like implants or some kind of some kind of robotic component in their body. And it's really a story about a detective who has a lost son that he's had a falling out with, who gets contacted by the son, and he's out to find him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So then you play as you're an observer. That's
Right.
kind of that's the name for your police unit or whatever. I don't want to say detective, but
You're a detective.
Right.
Yeah. Essentially, he recreates crime scenes.
Okay.
He sees how things are laid out and potentially finding information that like fits the crime, and it's somewhat of a detective component to it.
Don't be like that. It's just.
But I was always under the impression it would be a little bit more action, but it's definitely more of a walking simulator.
walking simulator, finding clues,
Story rich, kind of thing.
Okay.
Sounds pretty
Clues that are driving you to figure out what's going on. So it's something you can sit there and play and not feel like super tense about.
Right.
Right. It's not the next gun battle is coming up and get ready kind of thing.
If we all die, we're getting booted to space.
Right. So here's his son calling in. He reaches him through some kind of secured channel, and he's able to track down by triangulation where the kid is, and that's where he's headed. And that's kind of how it kicks off and starts. And it's got some very stylized layouts of the environment.
Would you say that it's almost over stylized?
Yes.
And it's not strong enough gameplay?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think the gameplay's there. The game mechanics there and everything. It's just super in your face.
Okay.
Like about the design of the buildings and the colors that they use and the lighting systems and the walls look like they're. It almost looks like you're in a computer program walking around. The way they've done the design, the graphics, and the art.
All right.
So, I think there might be components that are. There might be a twist.
Okay.
To the way the story is.
Got it.
I guess to quote M. Night Shyamalan, right? You've got a twist in the end. But I think, yeah, like here, although the car looks really techy, well, kind of techy, I don't know, some of the stuff looks like it's the 70s.
Steering wheel looks well 80s-ish, but
some things look like the 80s, some things are like, hey, we don't even have that today kind of thing. But, like here, this is in the building. This is the building that his signal of his son came from.
Certainly.
So it looks like it's got like computer walls. And,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And then this is another gentleman that you run into, and he's kind of like the supervisor of the building. And he fought in the war, and you find out his backstory and what's going on. And the more you find out about him, the better off you can respond to him. So there are some interesting branches the story goes into, but doesn't really branch off of the main story.
Are there reasons where you would play this and then replay it to go down alternative paths or see different choices?
I didn't get that right away.
Okay.
I think that it's a single path playthrough.
Okay.
Although I think you get information easier if you are interacting with like this guy in a better or nicer way.
Okay.
Instead of being aggressive towards them, being more friendly towards them kind of scenario.
Got it.
Yeah.
And it just makes it easier to move forward. Otherwise, you can stealth a little. Well, there's not really even stealth, but you can get access to other things. So yeah, the style of the doors and the walls and all that, it definitely makes me think like something else is going on in the game that we're just not aware of in the beginning.
It reminds me of last generation. I played a game called Syndicate.
Yeah,
it very much reminds me of that stylistically. Also took place, excuse me, in a cyberpunk universe.
Yeah,
right.
Here you're investigating the crime scene. You get kind of the same tools that you would get in other. I think about Condemned.
Sure,
that's what I kind of think of when I look at this. Is like, wow, that was in Condemned. Like being able to, although he held up an old, Motorola Razr phone,
right,
and was looking through it and like taking pictures that people were able to read on the other end. That's kind of like his tool set is augments that are in his body to be able to see this stuff.
Right.
Before he called me,
and you can kind of see like he's not aware this is his son or not sure it is, but this is the exact location his son had called him from.
Okay.
So the story deepens, the mystery deepens, and he's got to go through and find out more.
Is this a? I mean, do you happen to know? Is this a 4-hour play? Is this a 6-hour play?
It's definitely a little bit longer than 4 hours. I believe it's somewhere between like 6 and 8.
Okay.
Is what that is. We talk about how long to beat.com on here every once in a while, and you can always find out like exactly how or what the average is taking people. But if I remember correctly, this is about 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. I know that streamers have been able to stream the whole game in one day.
Or even
like an 8-hour day
or whatever. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're going to run into some trickier puzzles or things that stop you from moving forward, or you're wanting to look for a little bit extra here and there, or scan like everything.
Right.
That's going to add on to your gameplay time as always. But yeah, he's here he's off into the talking to the neighbors kind of thing.
Seedy alleys or whatever.
Well, this is still in the same building.
Okay.
It's weird, yeah. Like these are their doorbells, and they can see you and they can talk with you. Yeah, I know, high quality. Looks like you're in Aliens in the '70s when they were flying to like new galaxies with, tube TVs. So yeah, I think Observer's got some interesting components to it. I think that storytelling in walking simulators is probably the greatest way to tell a story. So you have people doing something and interacting with it. So when I say walking simulator, it's not detrimental. It's just that's what it reminds me of.
Just very much in the vein of like, we don't have to rewatch this cutscene because I got shot, I didn't lose, I didn't get killed, I didn't get overpowered.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a fun presentation of like, we're telling a story,
interacting with
and
things.
It doesn't require like FPS headshotting or whatever. Right. So
that's right. That's true. So did we put all of the? I did not put Observer in there. So let me drop Observer into chat. For anybody that's interested, you can find the game on WildTangent. And then we'll move on to Away. So we're going to play that. We're going to take a couple turns back and forth. It's definitely an interesting game in terms of graphics and art. Very, like I said, it reminds me a lot of a anime TV show.
Yeah, the characters are certainly larger than life. There's certainly some, fantastical elements where everything is not necessarily just human. It also does an interesting, and we'll go ahead and flip it on right here.
Power. We're going to play controller on this. I think everybody should. I'm going to check. See if we've got the audio up. Yeah, all right. So we're going to start basically from the beginning.
Yep.
So you get a chance to see it. Now the game is available on our service as a WildTangent DRM title, so you can actually play it for free for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right now. So if you guys want to check it out, anybody wants to look at the game and play it on your own machine, I'll drop the link in chat. You can click on it, play it for free for 30 minutes. And see what you think.
I thought this game in particular, 30 minutes is a nice little taster to this. It really it introduces you to the gameplay elements, the world, the graphics, kind of the mechanics, but it doesn't, you can get nowhere near, close to the end or anything like that.
Oh, of course,
So it's here.
I'm going to drop that in. So there's the link for Away. And like I said, if you go and download it right now, you can play the game for free for 30 minutes and check it out. We also have the Steam version on the service as well, so if you want to buy it on Steam, you can find that as well.
So I was told there's a loud noise downstairs, so we're going to go investigate.
There's your faithful companion. My dog's name is Max in real life, too, so I thought that was funny. And he thinks the stick is the best tool here to handle the noise that just blew a hole through your basement. So it's kind of an interesting game in that the fact of like you're in a first person almost I want to say cell shaded like design, but then your enemies are 2D. Yeah. And very animated, like 2D sprites. So it's just an interesting kind of mesh between the two, right? So the environment looks great, though. It looks fantastic. Like I like the color palette, the design of like the level, and the look and feel of like the borders in the background. Obviously, you can see, you can't go 100% everywhere. It's not an open world game. But it kind of drops you into these areas or these sections that you can play off of.
So everyone's concerned Labaworks has come into town, is creating trouble. I went and talked to the local mage. He does not want to join me yet. So what I'm actually going to start here and do is I'm going to try to recruit him onto our team. And to do that, we need to get a character cube to add him. So let's see, where did that... It should have dropped one in the open world somewhere for us here.
Yeah, it does change. So it's procedurally generated.
There we go.
That's something you have to take into consideration. Every time you play, it's different.
Yeah, so each dungeon will have varied layouts, varied enemies, varied bosses. Cool.
And when you die, it changes it as well.
Yep.
So I think you'd pointed this out, though, at the beginning. When you die, you don't lose the key components or items. You don't lose, like, experience. You don't lose your gold little triangles you're picking up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's probably how I distinguish it from a roguelike to a roguelite.
Yep.
T is you do keep your experience, you keep your abilities, you keep banking it. And...
Gonna work with us?
Yeah, so I got a friendship cube. So we're gonna recruit this guy. And I have...
So they're taking his house. That's what it was, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
The land grab.
Cool. So the way that recruiting characters in this game kind of works is each character is not only a new character, but they actually act as more or less abilities. So whereas our main character here has got a melee weapon,
Yep.
our mage has got ranged magic. And we can...
And he wears broken glasses.
Yes. So let's see here. We're going to run around.
I do like that. You get a different viewpoint when you switch characters.
There's even some ones that become even more stylized.
Right.
Where instead of just a cracked screen, it really changes up. So we can't afford a third friendship cube yet. So we're going to have to get into some dungeons.
You can kick chickens just like you can in Fable and in Zelda. That's a fan favorite.
We used to throw.
So this is the first one.
We used to throw the penguin off the edge in Mario 64.
Oh yeah. Trying to grab them and
So let's see.
flip them off there.
So we got some ranged attacks that we're going to be dealing with here.
Yeah, you do get varying enemies as you start off. I'm pretty sure like these enemies get harder as you go further into the game and you get different ones. But the ones they start you off with, if you don't have the right character, it's a little bit tough to get through even these basic first three dungeons that you can interact with.
It took me a few plays where I could really get through these without any issues.
Yeah, you got to find the right combo. I still haven't found it for our tree friend that we use.
He's got a unique weapon set.
Yeah.
So let's see. Do I? No. Get up there.
So in some of these, one of the first dungeons that I went into on that when it first generated was like it was short. It was maybe what would be equivalent of like walking 50 feet,
Right.
flipping a switch and being out, right? Like 2 enemies. But then this one's far more intricate. Like you have 2 levels that you're dealing with. It's deeper. You know, you've got to. It takes a little bit of time to get through it. Where some of them are just like super fast, and you can be out in a minute or 2.
And we fell.
Nice.
That's why they call me the professional.
Yep.
I had done most of my play on mouse and keyboard with this one.
How do you like the controller? So it does. It does. Funny enough, we found this out. The game, it does not tell you that it supports gamepad in the game.
Yeah.
But it will support like the standard 360 or Xbox One style controller without toying around with any features.
Yeah.
Right. So
We just plugged it in, turned it on, and we were good.
and it was good to go. Yeah.
So we basically are going to try to claw through 3 dungeons here, and I think we might... I don't know. We'll see if we get through all this. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm going to flip it so you can see full screen. It's a good looking game. I like the artwork, the design. Yeah, this was one of the bigger dungeons that I saw in this beginning part. It's not massive, but I mean, again, it's a lot more to it than the other ones that I've been through.
So I'm running up one more time.
I gotta try to get the...
Because you want as much gold as possible.
Yeah.
Or gold, I don't even know if it's called gold, but whatever those gold things are.
The gold triangles. I have noticed that, like, swinging the stick, too, you have to kind of, like, swing earlier than you think.
Yeah.
Or otherwise they get too close and they can smack you with whatever they're carrying.
Yep. There's a little bit of depth to it that's a little
Yeah.
It takes a minute.
That's what I think. Yeah, that's the challenge. The depth, you're right on with that. The depth is like a little... it's a little off or something like that. Maybe it's because it's the 2D sprites instead of a 3D kind of enemy. I don't know what it is, but something felt off. So you just, like anything, you know, the swing speed in like Dark Souls or, you know, the jumping in another game, you have to get used to it.
Once you get used to it, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is one there.
No chest?
I've never found a chest in there. Was there one there for you?
There's been a chest there every time I've played. Let's take a swing. We might need a heart. And since I'm so close to death, I'm going to be careful.
You're going to try to range.
Yeah, I'm not... I don't like to waste the magic like this, but my play was a little bit sloppy, so...
Yeah, I noticed that the hearts are tough to come by. And the ones that really take it out of you are the guys that he's fighting now, the ranged characters. They can hit you from... They can hit you twice before you're even up on them with the stick to club them. Oh, I was going to say, you're going to get nailed by the bomb when it goes off. Oh, there you go. Yeah, see, this is a pretty short one.
Yeah, this
right
was...
here. I've seen it even shorter than that.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, almost as soon as you got in the door, there was the switch.
Okay.
But hey, procedurally generated makes it development so much faster.
Oh, and it also makes for fun. So, like, when you die and you replay and you want to do different characters, it's not like the same dungeon every single time. Okay, so we've got 2. Basically, now we need 3. I would love to bring another character, but we don't have the money for another cube yet, unfortunately.
Yep, you just gotta kind of make your way through. Is that the... Yeah, there you go. This will be the longest dungeon with the most enemies and everything.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Any heart?
Nope. The firecrackers. I haven't done that. Oh, those guys are a pain. Those crab ones?
Yeah.
The shellers. What was it? In Pokemon, the Sheldons? Cloyster and Sheldon, or whatever they were. Yeah, that's what he reminds me of. And they're pretty tough. They actually take, I think, 4 hits with the stick if you're trying to fight him that way.
We're gonna hug this wall. We're gonna play.
I was gonna say you're
play a little stingy.
Oh, there it is. So now you've lost 1 life. You get to go to the upgrade screen or the EXP screen.
Get charge attack. You want to take a swing on this?
Yeah, I'll try. So now we've still got to go back through and play all the... It doesn't save the progress on the dungeons. So you have to go back through all 3 dungeons.
So yeah, so it keeps your gold.
Yep.
It keeps your experience and abilities.
Yep.
Your cubes are wiped. Your team is wiped. And so now we're in basically a fresh instance of the world.
So we have a run or sprint. Okay, here we go. I like the music. That music back here reminded me a lot of like... God, I want to say like Phantasy Star Online.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't point out exactly where I pull this from, but...
Then it goes away. It's like instantly gone as you go down in here. So they must be jamming out. Grandparents have their music. Yeah, so it seems like I'm so far away when I'm swinging.
Right.
But hit him every time that way. So I didn't try the charge shot, but we'll do that here after we get through the loading screen. Let's give it a shot here. We're gonna... Or do we have... on the charge shot, you have to wait? Yeah, I think it is. Oh, there goes the chicken. I'm gonna do this. Oh, I have to go get even the friendship cube. Let me go grab that. Cool. Now we'll go grab our buddy.
You gonna go with the mage too?
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a shot.
I liked his range. I can't say I didn't care for the tree.
Yeah, the tree guy is just, he's got a weird attack that I don't think it's that powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so this time we're going to go through, I think this was the same one you were just in, but obviously it's going to be different as it's randomly generated. Like, I am so far away when I'm swinging at these guys and hitting them, it's just, it blows my mind. But here's here's, like, I just walked in. Yeah.
I could have gotten 3 of those in the one first dungeon.
I know, yeah. That one, that's what I'm saying. Like, some of them can be like...
I haven't seen one that short.
So we're already done with the first one. We're going to go on to the second one here. And then they just keep rolling. Who's hitting chickens?
Rolling over the fryer.
Exactly, rolling right into the battle oil.
Speaking my language.
Let's go. Okay, so another generated dungeon. Completely different, but see how close that one is.
What is this?
And they're all like the good enemies that are not spitting things at me. I'll even take that heart just to do it.
What it must be doing is it was like you died, Brooks, before the first boss fight. It was assume you're playing a game, and
it's
it
like,
these
holy cow,
scrub dungeons over here. Okay, feeling pretty good about my play tonight.
All right, can I get that? Okay, there we go. All right, on to the third. Since we haven't even like been touched.
Looking good.
All right, and then there's some interesting stories as you're talking to some of the characters. They go on and on and on. You're like, oh boy, here it is.
Once I kind of planted my feet and I really got some good loops on it, the first area, I think it's a good taster area. I do have to say, some of the later areas I found more fun, more challenging. They've got you do some different things mechanically. You don't just swing a stick to kill enemies to, beat 3 dungeons.
For sure.
Right.
Now, I have seen this. This doesn't seem to change, this outlay of the rocks. So, like, it seems like every time I've played, there's always these, like, 4 or 5...
I've noticed that too.
Coins, and then you can go on to the next one. The other thing that's interesting is you can jump and then press the boost.
The air?
Yeah.
I saw that. Huh.
So like I can jump off here, normal speed, and then boost my way further. So you can boost, jump, boost again in the air kind of thing. I'm sure that'll come into play. So here's our third dungeon.
I'll assume the switch is going to be in the first room. Oof.
A little bit further.
Ooh, okay.
Let's see here. We got our first spitter.
One thing that I never did figure out, and maybe I didn't play far enough in, I couldn't figure out how to regain his energy back once you spent it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Because if you get to a point with any of the characters that have magic, once you run out of magic, it's not that they die, you just... They're useless, right? So...
Let's see. And you can use the D-pad, as you can see on the screen. Pressing up is your character, and pressing to the left is the mage. You can just use on a controller the left and the right bumpers.
Right.
To be able to bounce between.
Yeah, super nice.
Which is nice, yeah. Makes it a little bit more manageable. But yeah, the one thing that blows me away is how far I am from when I'm swinging to hit these guys. We got that, yep. One more. Two more. Oh, cloister. A hidden cloister. It's a pig in a shell. That's what it looks like.
And the shell has eyes.
And the shell has eyes,
Or,
yes.
does it? Yeah.
There we go. Let's go and get this one. Now the area's open. Yeah, I definitely got the pro dungeons.
You got a couple nice dungeons there.
Yeah, they were pretty short.
Bad.
The pro side dungeons,
I also
as you say in golf.
I also found that when I tried to play, what I was doing was you really need your mage late game. So I really tried to learn to play this area stick with only stick. So
try to play it stick.
Tried.
How much is it? 100. Yeah, we're so close. It's all right. Let's go talk to this guy. We'll hear some story. Spin a ski arm, tentacle.
Hey, Miss Stone.
Oh, was that it? Did the story change because I already unlocked that? It must have, because he's not talking to me now.
Yeah, because if you go to him with a friendship cube before, you can actually recruit him.
Yes, that's right. So you get a different, response, I guess, if you already open it, or if you don't have a friendship cube.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Let's see here. So, this, like I said, this game's got a lot of stuff that I find appealing, especially in the kind of roguelite area of, it's got some challenge, you die, you come back. Oh, okay.
You know, in general, I've really grown to appreciate From Software, I'd say probably mastered their craft at this, right? But I love it's so refreshing to play a game where the developer deliberately makes something challenging, because far too often these days we play and it's like, run to the giant yellow pointer and then follow the giant yellow line and open the chest with the giant arrow above it. Right?
So like very directional stuff.
I like in this that they drop you in and they say, go. Here's your stick, figure it out.
Yep. Oh. Is this the boss? No. Well, if it was. Let's see, got some gold. Yeah, I like challenging games, and I definitely have appreciated the indie developers bringing those to the table.
Well, I mean, that's also kind of one of the fun things, right? Or one of the unique things of being a smaller independent developer is that if you tried to go slam roguelike mechanics into, say, put them into Anthem, can you imagine what would happen if you lost your stuff when you died? So,
talk about hate. Oh, jeez. Let's see.
Inching pretty close.
There we go. That's where that jump came in. Where are we? Still okay. We're going past it. Oh, look at this. Don't get near the wall. Okay, can I take these guys? both of them? Yep. I don't mind the little guys with the pickaxes.
I'll be curious what boss you pulled on this. I've seen a few variants.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have too. Can I get up to them? I think maybe over. No?
Go to your right, you can.
Go to the.
Or now it'll be your left. There's a door though. Yeah.
Oh, that's what's gonna get me up there. Okay. There we go. It's gonna take me around. Oh, I didn't see you. I wonder if I can just take you out first. Yeah.
Oh, and he drops a heart. Nice.
Yeah, no, the heart's the catch on that one. Ooh. How many of these types of games have you played outside of like Dark Souls?
Oh, let's see. I mean, I've played everything From is done at this point.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, there's in Dead Cells right now, there's 1.2's in beta. That's probably my next roguelike purchase. But then
Dead Cells? Yeah.
But then we've also got Sekiro right around the corner in March here.
Yeah.
So I'm by no means a veteran of this genre. I don't know, maybe a dozen. That's probably generous.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
no, that's good. I know I played the CI games, which along with the From Software. So I played the CI games, which are like you've got Lords of the Fallen, and then the Surge.
Right, which I've got the Surge.
So those two have been pretty good. I know a lot of people have a problem with like the comparison of like Dark Souls to Lords of the Fallen, but I thought Lords of the Fallen was okay. I mean, it was a good game.
Yeah.
And then there's Lords of the Fallen, Fire Emblem, not Fire Emblem. I can't think of the name of it. And then a lot of the indie stuff I played, like Dead Cells,
right,
Hollow Knight, Shovel Knight.
In general, I think it's probably fair to say that permadeath became something, or at least becoming more popular in the action genre. It kind of adds more of a strategy to it as opposed to, I remember playing games like TMNT and Double Dragon back in the day,
right?
Where it was kind of do as much damage as quickly as possible on the screen. Whereas these games, you really have to be picky and choosy with your encounters, with your weapons, what you're playing with.
There was a nice difficult one that, there's a few that that Adult Swim has come out with. One was Volgar,
right? We've talked about this.
It's a pretty addictive game and it's really tough. Had fun with that. The other one is, they just brought it out. What's the name of that? Oh man, it's gonna kill me. I can't remember it. Okay, there's our key. But they've done some pretty interesting ones that were done very well too. Like,
and this was from who?
From Adult Swim.
Gotcha. Okay.
Adult Swim games. Sorry.
I'm not as familiar with Adult Swim games.
Yeah, they've made some good ones.
Okay, let's see what boss you get. Did you get Spider? Hopefully you got Spider. Spider's doable.
Let me through.
You got Fire, dude. You might be
a little tough.
Be tough without the mage.
Well, I've got the mage. Oh, I don't have any energy. I just noticed it.
Yeah. Oops. Oh.
Yeah.
That was that. 50 swings. Do it.
Whack, whack, whack. Wow. Am I even doing any damage?
1 point per swing.
Ooh, goodness.
48 swings to go.
Oh.
47 swings to go.
I wonder if he has stages to him, too. Like, you get him down about a third and he changes up his attack.
He does not. He's He's pretty straightforward.
Okay. He's gonna get me. Oh, so he does have a few attacks in his repertoire. Ah. Yeah, that was gonna be tough without the mage.
You know, and funny enough, I showed up there one day with the tree, and that tree guy, even though he's not that good, if you just throw his bombs in the middle, he just sits there and just plays ping pong and just goes back and forth.
And hitting those, okay.
And it's just like...
That would make sense there in that. You might have enough gold to get the extra character.
Yeah.
Or friendship cube.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go grab a tree.
We'll see if we can do one more run at that. I do see your point though, like kind of maintaining your mage until the end.
It's...
That stick that you carry is just like...
It's really good, and that's... I think that's one of my favorite things about those death mechanics, where you kind of play and you learn something, and then you play and you learn something, and it really starts to evolve. You're like, okay, so now we're going in strategically. We've got, okay, so we have enough gold. We can bring 3 characters this time.
Right.
We still have plenty of bombs.
So you've got to go back through the 3 dungeons.
Presumably, I will have the longest dungeons ever.
Right.
Right.
Right. That'll teach you. And then at that point, you'll be able to go back through, and you should have both friendship cubes.
Yeah.
How much gold did you have? 112.
You have 112 right now.
Death Gambit. That's the other game that I was thinking of.
Okay.
So that one is quite rough to get through and challenging in the sense of a roguelike.
Since we're right here, I'm just gonna hop. Ooh, okay, actually, I'm gonna walk back that statement and go get all the gold.
There you go. There's actually an interesting guy on Steam that kind of catalogs all of like the Souls type games.
Okay.
And he's made a list of them, and I always check him out because he's got some interesting stuff. I'm going in there right now to take a look and see if this game is on his list. Let's see. What do they call those over there? Influencer? Not influencers. Ambassadors? No. Oh, there's the tree guy. He's a little whacked out on the liquid that's in the ground.
And then they did something with, even though I don't care for his attacks, I absolutely loved this here. Where you play as him and then you get a brand new art style.
Yeah, this is the different view we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, each of them kind of carry their own unique view or perspective when you're looking through their eyes, like of how they view the world. Trying to find this dude.
Platforming dungeon with like a lock and mechanics. Couldn't just walk in and do a switch and walk out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he doesn't have... So, the guy that does this is games like Dark Souls.
Okay.
Is what his thing is.
As advertised, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, call it what it is. He doesn't have a way in there yet, but he does have some that are similar in that, but they're definitely like more like Dark Souls than what you know, than what this type of game is. This has got a mechanic similar to it, but not as ruthless, and it's not as like punishing. Yeah, that's the word.
You can lose.
Yeah.
Hours. Wow, this was quite a little dungeon we ended up in here.
Yeah. See, again, you get the meteor ones where it's like a little bit of a stretch to get down there. There we go.
Back out. The next two should, I think, some luck might fall into our lap here.
Yeah.
Let's see, we'll go behind here. There's the chest behind the waterfall. It's always there for me for whatever reason.
Take those guys out. That's a good idea. You get right in front of them. They can shoot like 2 or 3 of those balls at you and just like wipe your health out. The health bar reminds me of Zelda for sure.
Definitely.
With the hearts.
Yeah.
Nice. Pretty smooth. You still got plenty of hearts.
Plenty of hearts. We got 3 characters. We got full magic on both dudes. We'll tar our way out. On our way to Dungeon 3. And I have to find my north on this one. I'm not exactly sure which one we went into first.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah, so the overworld, the position, the layout is always the same. Although things like the friendship cube and that start in a different area, potentially. But like the dungeon entrances are always in the same spots.
Oh, look at this freebie dungeon we got here.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, even those bombs could probably take both of the all 3 of the characters. There we go. A little bit of gold. Block. Done.
Okay.
Now you can just scoot over to the level.
Yeah, wide open for us. We'll see what boss we get. That was one of the things that I found as I was kind of trucking through it on some plays to kind of get the hang, was like the bosses that they drop on you really determine what kind of good luck you get. Because if you had the spider boss on that fight, you'd have walked right through that.
Right.
So
it's all about the RNG. Who gets the lucky roll?
Last trek.
Those doors throw me off every time.
Okay, got a little bit of a different layout this time.
Yeah, you can go down.
Yeah, it's got the pit here. Maybe the bottom of this pit?
Yeah, looks like there's an entrance or a way through. Yeah, I think that's going to be your path.
Looks like we're going down.
And that door should open or no?
I think we might be going back up.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
2.
We're going to be going to blue.
Yeah. Oh. Blades have changed position.
Camera there. Scoop the camera.
Nice.
Ooh. Sloppy melee.
Yeah, a little couple.
I don't know if that. Nah,
Couple whacks. I like that they have the Metal Gear exclamation when they see you. Like,
yeah. Huh. I was hoping we were going to get a key in that room.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Yeah?
Ooh, you can get pretty. You can be pretty far away and still get hit by that thing. Oh, at least they're dropping some cards, though.
Yeah, we're still in. We're in good shape now. We'll be okay.
Heart. Nope. Nice.
Going down for the boss key.
Yeah, the steps out of here are interesting.
Okay.
Just like the other one, where it was kind of like, it looks like it's doable, but you can see where it'd get tough, especially with the I don't know.
All right.
Stalactites either are up and stalagmites are coming down or something like that. I don't know what they are when they're on the side. Steps, I guess. Nice.
Heart.
So close. Couple gold pieces. There we go.
Assume the worst, hope for the best.
Right, obviously. Ooh. Oh, you got the spider too.
This one can show up.
Yeah, it's definitely got some like tunes from like 90s role-playing games.
Yeah.
Oh, he did not appreciate that. That one took. Nice.
Oh,
Very good.
That dude got crushed. You have to throw bombs at him. We are just making out like a bandit.
Yeah, we got 114 already.
Smelling like roses here.
Nice.
Did not get triggered here.
Is your exit up? Oh no! There, wow, that was hidden out of the way, wasn't it?
It was super hidden in the corner. I didn't catch that the first time.
It like blended right in.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess.
Which way you want to go? See the biome for snow, or?
Let's see. Ooh, we don't really get a choice there.
Oh yeah, that's true. Kind of stuck. So if you get good in the 30-minute trial, you can probably make it here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a nice little stopping point.
Yeah, I think we should stop on this. So we don't want to play too far into it, but this is just a little bit of an idea of what Away is, and you can, like I said, if you click on the link in the chat, you can go play it for yourself for 30 minutes and see how far you get. But it's a nice little game. I really like the idea of it. I like the challenge of it. I like the ease of entrance into this type of if you've never played this genre or this type of mechanic where it's like roguelite, it's definitely a nice... Why can't I mute that? It's not listening to me. It's a nice entrance into it with very beautiful graphics.
It was a nicer entrance than I got because my first swing was Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And I bought the game and I returned the game. And then I was convinced to rebuy the game. And that was that.
It's kind of like that, you know, when you play the harder ones first, it's like a shock to the system of how you fight your way through the beat 'em up style mechanics. And this is a little bit different, you know, first person perspective, but still done extremely well, and it's been fun, and I look forward to playing through more of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of banging your head against that wall. Well, it's not that bad in this one. But yeah, we played a little bit tonight. We had a lot of games. We covered... What did we cover? We covered Who Must Die. We covered Observer. We covered Gauntlet, Batman Arkham City.
Yep.
And we even picked up on Serial Cleaner and then played some away. So yeah, I think it was a nice show. Went through a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we'll definitely look forward to playing some more next week. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing about what everyone wants us to play. So we'd be open to maybe some suggestions in the future. Yeah,
definitely. Hit us up on chat. Let us know if you want to leave comments on the video. These videos are finally going to go up. We've been holding on to them, so we'd have a few.
Yeah.
So now that we're on the 5th show, we can start to put them up on the YouTube channel. Now we're getting close to 4,000 subscribers. Definitely, if you haven't clicked on it, do that. Yep. Follow us. Give us a little love on the subscription. And, you know, you get notified of every game that we put up. We cover probably about 4 a day.
Yeah.
In terms of that, we put up far more on the actual, like, website. But if you're a fan of, like, YouTube, you can definitely find all the videos that we put up. We even put up, like I said, we were holding on to some for footage. But the past 4 or 5 shows will be up there. And then all subsequent shows will be thrown into the same playlist.
Yeah, we'll have shows up there. We've got gameplay videos up there. We've got trailers for upcoming stuff there. We've got trailers for games that are currently live up there.
Yep.
So
you can definitely check us out on any of the social media channels that we have. We've got Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and then Pinterest for anybody that likes to see pictures of video games.
Yep.
That's always something. But yeah, we keep track of the YouTube side, so definitely reach out to us on there. You can even hit us up on our own. I have mine, which is Fans of Games, at Fans of Games. So if you want to reach out that way, you can reach out to me. Happy to do that. If you're new to the channel, Brooks and I both put up the games that go onto the service. So we are actually the content publishing team, and we play the games. We interface with the developers. We just had Daedalic in here today. Their games are going to be coming through, some newer ones. They've got some really cool stuff.
Really looking forward to their
that they're going to be showing and deploying on the platform here over the next few months. They got some really cool stuff they showed.
I would love to say a little bit more, but I don't think we can.
Yeah, no, they've got some of it that they've already talked about, but we'll definitely let those games kind of come to the surface, and we'll play them on the platform, on the streams as we get them. But they've got some cool things, and right off the top of my head is the Aratus game that's very similar to Darkest Dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were showcasing that to us and talking about like the plans for that. It looks really good. It has all the same mechanics of a nice tough rogue kind of game, and then it also has the narration and the dark macabre style artwork, and it looks really cool. So we're looking forward to those guys, and we appreciate Justice rolling through Bellevue today to kind of talk with us and show us what's going on. But I think that's about it.
Yep.
Look for these videos to come up. Look for all the games that we played. We're going to have the higher end footage that you can go and check out on the website. You can even be able to check it out in 4K.
Right.
We put those up. So definitely give us a subscribe. Let us know, to Brooks' point, what games you want to see more of, or what games you want to see that we have on the platform. We try to put up at least 30-minute gameplay footage of the new games that we have that you can't play free for 30 minutes. But if you do find a game on there, it says try free, you can play it for 30 minutes and it doesn't matter. It's the full game. If you can get further on it, if you can blast through a way, you can definitely see further into the game. But it's a tougher game. Who knows? You might be lucky, you might not. But until next week, have a good weekend.
Yep.
Look for episode number 6 coming up of the Weekly Tangent. And if you do want to check out on Wednesdays at noon, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, noon here on the Pacific, you can check out Games Gone Wild. That's on our Facebook. So go over there, give us a like, and check that out as well. We're doing shows twice a week.
Yep.
So we're always willing to play.
I mean,
new games.
barring massive snowstorms, of course. But
there's always the weather. But until then, everybody have a great weekend. We will talk to you next week. Thanks for watching.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.